Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the weekly Psychic Tarot Show. I'm ASHALA Yardley, and I will be doing an intuitive reading, a psychic tarot reading, on behalf of all of us tuning in together, looking at this upcoming week, which starting today, hard to believe, it's already December the 12th. So we're looking at the 12th to the 19th of December. I'm not right. It's the 13th to the 20th. I'm like, no, that was yesterday. So yeah, we're looking at this upcoming week. And for those of you that are new to the channel, of course, you can watch us here on the Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. Let me just share my screen and let you have a look at this. Ah, it disappeared. Hold on a sec. There we go. Share. Okay. I'm usually quite good at this, but a little fuzzy today. I've been working lots, doing writing projects and developing course content. So yes, here we are, Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe here if you haven't already done so. And alternatively, you can also follow us over here, streaming live on the Beyond Mystic Rumble and X channels. And you can find me on the consultations page where you can book a 1-hour reading with me. These readings are recorded, so you can watch the recording and receive insights. A lot of people watch them many, many times because so much gets said in an hour, and it's a lot to remember. So I almost always record the sessions unless someone doesn't want me to, and then you have the opportunity to listen to it at your leisure. So let's get started with this week's forecast. So nice to see many of you in the chat. Welcome, welcome from all over the globe. Oh, yes. Is it a free reading? No, it's not a free reading. So what we're doing right now is a free reading for the collective, but the personal private readings are not free readings, but you can use the coupon code below to receive a discount, and just go onto the consultations page. You can find the link below where you can book a private session with me. And I don't normally take private questions during this forecast show. Crystal, who happens to be my daughter, who's an excellent reader, she does private readings live. So if you're willing to explore some of your things live with the audience, she does those on her Beyond Karma show on Tuesdays. So there we go. Let's jump in and have a look at this week ahead. What do we need to know about the energies that are circulating astrologically in the universal consciousness streams, solar flares, Schumann resonance frequency adjustments, Gaia's earth alignment adjustments, our human evolutionary consciousness upgrades? What do we need to know about all these things, and how does that relate to our personal lives? What goes on from day to day, and how we address these little things that seem so inconsequential often ripple out, especially when we're addressing or focusing on things collectively for the purpose of upgrading the human frequency. So in your own little life, in your own little neck of the woods, you can be contributing to the betterment of the whole. And sometimes it's through being aware of the little details of life and doing things in a good order that supports this frequency upgrade. So that's a lot of what these forecasts are about. They're about helping us come into alignment with what's most ideal with the energies that are currently unfolding. So here we go. We're starting the reading in the sign of Aries. This, of course, applies to people who have Aries in their chart or who are Aries, but it also is really more about speaking about this part of our experience. So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. We do the 12 signs in the forecast, but we're really actually focusing on the house placement and what it means. So the house of Aries means the ego. It means kind of like our ego, our will. Aries' statement is, I am here. What are we here? How are we showing up this week? What are we here to do? So this card, Eight of Swords, classically known as we are the victim of our own limiting beliefs. That's how you can describe the Eight of Swords. You see this character. She appears to be blindfolded and tied up, and she's surrounded by these swords, which are kind of fencing her in. Those swords apparently were planted by her agreeing to have them placed in that way. And the agreement has to do with her believing or adopting these beliefs, which, one or two of them wouldn't be that disruptive. But because there's so many of them that are fencing her in, she's now held hostage by these beliefs. And then she, of course, has even succumbed to being blindfolded and kind of bound. All of that, the rumor says that her hands are free. She can untie herself, but she's kind of become accustomed to this. And it really is hard to break those, I want to say, programs. A lot of this is mental programming. We've been programmed for eons. I mean, many of us alternative historians are talking about a lot of this deep state cabal programming started 8,000 years ago. So there's the Eight of Swords. One sword for each 1,000 years of programming. That's not going to come out in a few years. That's not going to just disappear. Even when you bring your awareness to it, these binds go deep. These oaths go through lifetimes, through generations, and there's a lot of de-patterning, deprogramming that is required. It's going to be a lifetime work, I believe. And just knowing the truth does not do that deprogramming entirely. It really helps you to see the ways that you've been captured, but it doesn't support you in doing the deep subconscious reprogramming. So there's a hint here, subconscious deep reprogramming. And we're bringing this into the week. Maybe we are acutely aware that even though we have a lot of knowledge of truth, the wisdom of that truth hasn't sunk in deep, deep in. We're still held in these patterns. I know I am, and I've been awake for decades, and I've done a lot of work on myself, and I'm constantly surprised by how entrenched some of these patterns are. Okay, so that's a little bit of a rough start, yes, but the next card coming in, which is a major arcana, which has more weight, it has more effect than this minor arcana card. So 22 of the 78 cards are what we know as the major arcana, and they are the spiritual weightlifters. They really are our allies that help us grow spiritually. We have one of those cards, Temperance, the angel of healing, of balance, in the house of Taurus. And Taurus is so much about our material security, our material possessions, how we are in our bodies with our money, with what it means to feel secure and safe. We have the healing angel there. So you could have a really big, I want to say, a deepening or a greater awareness developing of how, you know, maybe even seeing some generational patterns of how these beliefs have limited your life, the lives of your parents and grandparents, and so on. But right beside that awareness is this angel of healing around security, money. Money and security and resources is going to be the way that we dig ourselves out of this trench. And many of you have already started transitions to new currencies, new financial systems, a new way of approaching your financial planning. All of that is amazing good work that's rippling out. You know, it's almost like I feel the ancestors back through time cheering, going, yay, fix all that stuff. We couldn't do it, but you can. You know, it's like they're saying we were literally bound into these agreements. And so we're liberating not just ourselves, but our whole ancestral line. Yeah. Mm. Yes, it will be a lifetime, but it's nice to see more light. Let's set ourselves free. Mm. Torian, stack silver, own Bitcoin offline. Yes, right? And there is a metal currency. Isn't that interesting that you're talking about that? Because, well, for one, we have the golden crown there. And then we have the idea of this temperance angel is also an alchemy card. And what was alchemy most interested in? The alchemists were most interested in the conversion of metals from different forms, you know, turning lead into gold. So these bars, these lead bars that are holding us, we are transforming that into a new frequency. There's an alchemical process going on here. And this is the first time in, I don't know, maybe ever in human historical narrative where so many everyday normal people, the little folk, not the elites, not the top of the pyramid, but those of us closer to the bottom of the pyramid, we've had access to so much of this esoteric wisdom that has kind of kept us separate from those elites. It's kept them in that position of having power because they have the knowledge and the ability to utilize that knowledge to work with this alchemical process, the money magic stuff. We're reclaiming what came before that. What are the natural ways of human currency? Wow. Oh, and another powerful card, Justice. So this is another one of the major arcana, the 22 major arcana, Justice in the house of Gemini. Justice related to information. So finally, the information is available to all. This is the real reset, is that all of this information that was, you know, kind of kept private by deep state, the cabal, the elites, and so on, that they kept this information tightly locked away. Because if we got access to it, first of all, we would discover that we have the same capacity to create whatever we can imagine that they have, and that there are ways to work with this energy. Interestingly enough, what I believe about working with the energy of manifestation and magic is that real magic and real power and real currency comes from like humility and a desire to be of service to the greater good of all. That's where you have access to the greatest energy, but you have to understand how energy and frequency work in order to use it. That knowledge has been kept from us. This is opening up, leveling the playing field. The fact that you can go online now and watch tens of thousands of different influencers all over the globe sharing all this sacred, ancient, esoteric information. I've been watching it and following this stuff for decades before there was an internet where you had to go and actually buy books and read stuff. And now I'm just blown away. I'll go on and watch some of the influencers that I used to watch 20, not watch, that I used to read 20 plus years ago. And it's like they're still great, but there's now 10 more like them that are even going deeper down the rabbit holes. I'm just blown away. It's such a powerful leveling of access of information so that whatever we want to be empowered with and educated with, we have the ability to access that. And really, what it is we have got to learn what questions to ask. They say that, AI responds to your questions, and the better your questions, the better it will answer. Well, that does not just apply to AI. That applies to how we expand and explore through life. And no matter where we search for information, it could be AI or it could be on YouTube. What you're looking for, what your question is, and then there's another way that I like to proceed with looking for information, which is intuitively. I used to go and look different databases for information, and there'd be all kinds of stuff, and there was no way to watch a little trailer or a preview clip. I would intuitively choose. I would look at sources and go, that's the one. I feel really strongly pulled to that one. And so many times when I look back years later, those choices proved to be most ideal for me at that time. They turned out to be the choice that led me to the most exalted version of whatever that truth or that interest that I was following. So don't underestimate the power of the access to knowledge and wisdom you have right now. This week, allow yourself to be led towards the information that's going to be the most pivotal in your removing these old binds, these old programs. Whoa. Okay, we have an emotional King of Wands down in home. And home is where the heart is. Our hearts are full right now. They may be very, I want to say, not delicate, but deep. There may be a lot of emotion in your heart right now. I had a couple of clients this week that said they just couldn't stop crying. They were feeling like so emotionally sensitive, but not just like surface sensitivity, like deeply, deeply emotionally aware, deep emotional awareness and perception. This is in your house of home. and family. So also a real deep emotional connection to your family of origin. This could get into even, the karma, because justice is a karma card in your family. So all of this is leading us into the time of year where these kinds of feelings are always deeper. We have a lot more experience of what is beautiful in our families and also what is tragic. And those things often seem magnified at this time of year. And I feel that we're getting even, what is it, 12 days before Christmas Day. I can't even believe this is true. But basically, yeah, like even this far before the actual Christmas Day itself, this deep feeling is building up, you know, big, big energy in the heart around your family story. Wow. Leo. So Leo has us wanting to, you know, jump out of the box, live our larger than life self, color outside the lines, take risks, be extroverted. None of those things goes along with the Four of Swords. Unfortunately, this is much more of an inward focused card. This is a meditation, contemplation, take a rest, take a breather. So it's likely you're going to feel less socially inclined, less extroverted, and that's okay. How many weeks have I said to you guys, get up off the couch and get out there whether you want to or not? And, for some of you, it's like, I don't want to do that right now, ASHALA. And I'm like, trust me, you'll want to do it because there's other times where that's not going to be the case. And this is one of those weeks where it's more likely that you will want to, I don't want to say hide, but utilize your heart energy. So I keep talking about the heart. You've noticed that. We've got the deep emotion of the King of Cups, and then we've got this contemplation, Four of Swords, rest, meditate, contemplate, regroup mentally, becoming aware of a new direction. So you see how the three swords are hanging on the wall. That's the Three of Swords, the card that is the heartbreak. And they've extracted those three swords out of the broken heart. They're hanging up on the wall now, no longer hurting the individual. Now they're taking a pause, a moment to rest and meditate and rebuild from the inside out, especially around the heart. So take a deep breath, everyone. Put your hand on your heart, give it a little tap. Our hearts are full right now. Our hearts are full. A lot of emotion is coming up, a lot of memories, whether they be conscious or unconscious, your own life memories, your own family history, and then even going back into your ancestral lineage and so on. There's a lot surfacing through the heart. Another four right beside it in Virgo. Virgo, daily life, habits, health, practices, routines. Four of Pentacles, locked down, locked in. Wow. Okay. What this says to me is, um, you know what they say about you can take a rest day or a sick day or whatever, or the universe can force you into it. You have a choice, right? If you take, there was some studies done a while back where people in different businesses where they had, whatever their sick day every month or two or whatever the sick days that were allotted to people. And if they forced the people to take the sick days, whether they were sick or not, and call them wellness days, where you'd go and actually treat yourself to as if you were under the weather, only it's preventative medicine as opposed to crisis management. And they discovered that it made for a healthier overall workforce. People felt better. They didn't have to take as many crisis sick days. This is what I'm getting. We're coming in, we're sliding into the holiday season, and you could say, oh, you know what? I'm just going to wait till the holidays because I'll just bank it all up and wait till then, energetically, emotionally, and physically. The guides are saying, if you can take at least a half a day this week, take time, a wellness retreat, time out of the schedule, time to regroup. Yeah, mental health days. Yeah. Interesting. Hello, ASHALA, and all from England. Been on a retreat today about inner peace, very restful and meditative. So, Valerie, that is exactly what I'm talking about. And it's so interesting. I just kind of had a bit of an argument with Crystal about this yesterday because I was like, no, I've got to get everything done so that I can take my holidays after the 21st. And, that's when I'll rest. And she was like, no, Mom, you got to take a day before then or half a day or something. You got to stop because you're going 24/7 and it's not good. And she said, I have a bad feeling about it. So if you're watching, Crystal, you're right. You're right. We need to take at least a half day this week, whether you think you should or could or would. Yeah, it's important. It's important. Okay, so I'm going to move these all over a little wee bit. Let's see if I can make them all dance together in a line here. The yes card in relationship. Okay, so Libra, the house of Libra, partnerships, relationships, agreements, legally binding agreements, clarity. So we're going to have some clarity around relationships, serious, committed relationships. This is a clarifying card. It's also a yes card. Now, whether we're saying yes to the relationship or yes to making a new direction, starting something new, going in a new direction, there's some sort of clarity. And, I do see with this Ace of Swords, sometimes it appears that it's pruning the old away. So there's something about cutting away old alliances, old, the pieces from the past, the ghosts of Christmas past, the things that are weighing you down, that have you kind of caught in the weeds. It feels like important to cut some of that away this year, to make space. This is coming into the end of the year of the wood snake, and relationships from our past can sometimes still ensnare us, enslave us. Look at that. It's like this sword can cut these binds that are holding this person hostage. It's like the scissors or the shears to cut through some of this. So especially around relationships, family, systems relationships, cutting cords. I feel like this is a week for cutting cords around negative relationships, be it family, partnership, the deeper relationships that have deeply affected you. It's interesting because the guides our collection of guides, what I'm hearing coming through is, we sometimes think of those cords like it's hard to visualize them, isn't it? I sometimes when I'm doing cord cutting work, I'm like, I don't know, is it made of metal? Is it made of like hemp rope? Is it made of what am I cutting anyway? What is it that I'm cutting? And I'm really being shown that the way, have you ever noticed, oh, we have something, a really tenacious weed in this part of Canada where I live. It's called morning glory. It's also known as creeping Jenny. And man, if that stuff gets around, wrapped around like a tree or a plant in your garden, or it just literally grows around, like even in a day, it can grow 5 times around whatever it is. It's unbelievable how tenacious it is. And even though it's an organic life form, a natural plant that grows in nature, um, it can be it can be smothering. Like the love that we've shared in these relationships, deep relationships with our family or our, partners, committed relationships, even though there's a naturalness and organicness to all of that, it still can be um, threatening to us. It can literally choke off our life force. So if you think of it as you're cutting away those tenacious weeds that are just like choking out the life force for the rest of your growth, you see yourself as this plant, and we know that weeds kind of take over and can prevent other plants from being healthy and vital. So see it as you're cutting through the weeds of these things that have overgrown the garden of your heart. And we're doing a big pruning. Now, as always, there is often some kind of a physical addition to the metaphysical. So if you have in any way any sort of gardening that you're able to do, I know it is winter here in North America, but if you do have any gardens, this could be a great week to literally pull out the weeds, prune the tree. Like there's just this feeling that happens when you do that externally, and it helps you do it internally. So, yeah, right. They are beautiful plants, just like some of the love and relationship experiences that we have or have had in the past. Um, there can be very beautiful aspects to that, but it can also turn into this weed that overgrows our heart. Snow's way too deep here. Haha. Tracy Ampo says yes. Well, I don't know. Maybe you're going in your indoor plants and cutting off some of the dead leaves or something. Uh, Something to think about. Well, and it's interesting because people are bringing trees and branches and boughs and things in from outside. So even that, even going through that action of bringing the nature indoors and thinking about, when your celebration is done, you're going to get rid of all that material. You're going to hopefully find a way to, put the tree through the tree chipper and then compost it. But this is a time where we're doing some of that energetic, taking organic matter and releasing it. It's part of this time of the year. Okay, so Scorpio, that normally is the house of really big, death and rebirth and all that big energy. it's got this sweet little page of cups in it. It's almost like you would think these two would be trading places. Cancer, a water sign, has the most profound, impactful water card of the whole tarot, King of Cups. Scorpio, also a very potent water sign, has the gentlest cup, water element of the tarot, the little page of cups, the inner child. So the rebirth of the inner child, somehow the inner child is coming out. Look at that, across from Taurus with the healing temperance angel. The inner child will be awakened this year. And that's obviously, if you have children in your life, have you ever noticed when you have children in your life, you're doing things with them or supposedly for them, but a lot of the time, isn't it fun to share those activities with the children? Aren't you vicariously, your inner child is going, yay, I always wanted to do this. We often do with our children or grandchildren the things that we have wanted to do or that we wanted when we were children. That's the things that we love to share with them. So let your inner child receive this week. If it's vicariously through sharing what you love to do with your kids or grandkids, or if it's just allowing your inner child to receive the things that it finds the most enjoyable. It's important. And, Scorpio is sort of like one of the most major, deep, potent positions on the wheel. And it's saying the deepest connection is your inner child this week. So home, family history, family legacy, and your inner child, really big. Lots of big emotion. Oh, well now for something completely different. The world in Sagittarius. The world in Sagittarius. So if you remember, if you've been watching me now for a few weeks or a few months or even longer, you'll know when we get up to Sagittarius, I always talk about travel, expansion, spontaneity, and lo and behold, we have the big travel card. The big kahuna is here. The world is in the position of world expansion, travel, spontaneity, exploration. Across from justice. I mentioned last week there could be something about an important trip. And I've been lamenting at how many travel restrictions are being thrown around like no big deal. All of a sudden, this, that, and this and that, and it doesn't matter which way you turn, more visas, more requirements, more. And some part of me is going, we gotta push through this. Well, we get to push through this, and don't let that stop you from traveling. It feels like many of us have a very, very important journey in the next year or two, perhaps the most important journey, travel experience of your life is coming up. So it's really important not to say, oh, I can't travel until all this craziness has gone over. And yeah, let's just say this craziness will be over a lot sooner. The more of us that say, I am still going to travel and you're not going to stop me. That is important that we do it for principle, if for no other reason. So a plan this week, even considering more about your big trips. What is it that you're doing? I'm planning a beautiful big trip to Egypt in May, taking some people with me. There's still a few spaces open on that trip. And this is a trip of a lifetime. This is something I've always wanted to do. I have the very best crew of awake, you know, heart-centered, consciousness-oriented people to travel with, that have experience in that part of the world, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. So these focuses are, as I said, this isn't just about entertaining ourselves. These are almost like karmic resets. So many of us have at least one or two very, very important trips in the next couple of years that are larger trips, like outside of the country you live in. And these are karmically based kind of travel of a lifetime experiences. So, as much as possible, even though we're feeling vulnerable and the heart is really working right now in Leo to regroup, clear away some of this old conditioning and the cords that bind us, maybe even other people's opinions, all of that. This is a very, very strong line. You see this? Two major arcana cards across from each other. Really, really important that we don't drop this. Yeah. Aw, thank you. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Tracy says, I just ignore restrictions, etc. It's all just a joke. And what I've known for my own experience from the past is, yeah, the less credence I give this stuff, the less it seems to impact me. And I'm always hearing stories about the people that just go, no, I'm doing this. I'm not letting it psych me out. And they end up in the right line and have the right customs officer. Like, it's just interesting, right? It's interesting how we see our way clear to do what it is that is really important for us. And I'm excited for all of you, many of you that are going to have a very, very important trip. This isn't just tourist travel. This is like karmic resets with maybe even past life places that we've lived where we're meant to go back there and do something important. And this week, there could be another step in that direction. So that's super exciting. Whoa. Wow. Oh my. The Hermit in Capricorn. The plot thickens. The Hermit in Capricorn. I just gotta pause here for a minute and have a look at this. Well, okay. The Hermit, actually, if you look into the story that is the background of the card of the Hermit, he is associated with all of these ancient, I want to say, kind of hero gods. He's associated with, among others, I believe it's Kronos, grandfather time. And grandfather time walked around not with a lantern, but with an hourglass, peering into the hourglass, observing time and managing time. So there's something this week, even before we get right into, like a week from now, just over a week from now is solstice, the longest night, or depending on where you are, if you're down in the southern hemisphere, the longest day of the year. There's something about time standing still. Now, we often see that coming into the seasons right around the solstices and the equinoxes. Wow, this year is next level time, like we can almost peer through time and pierce time with our perception, our consciousness. So you can actually do really big healing work around other timelines, lineages, ancestors, um, even around different times in your life, your childhood, say, for example, past lives. You can really um, kind of, those in the, gosh, I'm gapping the name of it right now, the Ebenezer Scrooge story, where that one angel takes him back through time, looking at the Christmases past. That's kind of what I'm feeling around this. It's almost a little bit spooky because Capricorn is the most serious of the houses in a way. It's at the top, ruled by Saturn. Oh, yes. Also, the hermit is often associated with Saturn. So, lords of karma, rulers of time, and to have him show up there with the world on one side of him, whoa, and 5 of Cups on the other. Wow, we are clearing our grief, collective grief. So again, if you find yourself that feeling like pit in your stomach or stuck in your throat, you're like feeling emotion coming, this is not just you. This is not just you. And I really encourage you to let that flow, let it flow through you. You know, it's like I'm being shown in the one hand having that pruning shears to cut away the old things that you need to release so that you can breathe. You're not being choked off by the past. And then I just feel like the tears are watering the new you that's going to be rebirthing. And it's now, like we're in this birthing canal right now. So whatever you're doing this week, if you find yourself, I don't know, out shopping or running errands or being chaotic in your work or home or family or whatever, and all of a sudden you just have this like either panic or huge wave of emotion, take half an hour, take 40 minutes, go find a place, sit alone, and give yourself the dignity of going, this is big work I'm doing. This isn't just me having a little meltdown and I'm so sensitive and what's wrong with me. This is like you're doing the work of lifetimes. You are weaving timelines. You're piercing through time and it's coming into your emotional body. So let this give some space for it. Give some room for it. Whoo. How are you doing there, everybody? I feel it. I'm like, I might have to go and have a little cry after this reading. Yeah. Yeah. All right. The emotions of the collective. Yeah. No wonder I'm feeling nauseated today. Yes. Um, mhm. Yep, tired, emotionally overwhelmed. All the blue colors. Thank you for that. Mhm. Yes, I've been feeling really emotional where I can cry, not my normal, and that's okay. Isn't it? I love that about these. I'm just chilled all over. I think I am going to have a cry when we're done here, everybody. Yeah, I love that about these readings. I love how there's just this we're together. You know, I know many of you I've met or met online, many of you, and I'm just having all these faces flashing in front of me, like imagining people going, Here it comes, ASHALA. We saw this in the forecast, and I'm gonna go and have my it's okay. Take your half hour, take your 40 minutes, and stop everything. Yeah. Go, if you're out doing errands, just go drive somewhere, park yourself somewhere, and take some breaths and let the tears come. You don't have to say, "Oh, what's wrong with me? Why am I thinking about this person, or why am I fixated on that?" Never mind, never mind, never mind. Think about all of us and go, "Oh, I bet they're all doing that too," because we are. And then you won't feel alone in this, because we're not alone, even though this is the most loner card of all. I always love that. I think it was Clarissa Piccoli's Estes. She wrote that beautiful letter, kind of like a, a testament to light workers or something. And she was talking about how those of us that are light workers, we feel so alone. And we're always in the darkness carrying this lantern and no one around. And we feel so isolated. And, everything seems so bleak and hopeless. And then she said, but you get out on the high seas when things really get going, and we look around and there's just every direction as far as you can see, boats with one person with their lantern holding it at the front through the storm. And then we look across and see all those other lanterns and we go, "Oh, it's not just me. I'm not alone. We're alone together. We have to go one by one in our own little boat with our own little lantern, but we're all together, and there is a growing light from all those little lanterns in the dark. It is growing, and our courage grows. I mean, you feel like you're part of something, right? And we are part of something. This is that quiet revolution that is done with the courage of each individual to stand in that darkness and be with all these waves of deep, deep emotion, and then up to the inner child being light and merry and playful, and then back down to this King of Cups. Like, ooh-wee. Okay, last card. Pentacles across from each other. We've got a 7 of Pentacles and a 4 of Pentacles. And so 4 of Pentacles in Virgo are our habits, our daily life, our practicalities, our lifestyle. And the 7 of Pentacles, it can feel, because 7 of Pentacles means we're waiting. We're waiting to see the results. We're waiting. And it's in Pisces. Pisces is kind of like dream time. And it's that sort of dream where you're like, okay, it's a nightmare. I can never seem to wake up. It's just repeat, like Groundhog Day, the same thing again and again and again, right? So there could feel like this endless waiting. Like I'm waiting for something. I'm waiting for the material reality to shift. I'm waiting. That, if you look at what's on either side of that, this is sometimes it's exciting to wait, right? Like Christmas Eve or Christmas morn, you're a kid waiting for Christmas. You're like, oh, it's so exciting. I can't wait. And then there's this, which is so much unknown that you're like, I don't know what I'm even waiting for. And it just feels like the waiting is never going to stop. So again, that buildup of pressure it's not just you, and there is some purpose to the timing here. We have 2 timing cards. I think there's really, I'm trying to think of another timing card. Well, interesting, actually. I would say probably the 4 timing cards of the tarot are this one, 7 Pentacles, the Temperance Angel, the 4 of Swords, and the Hermit. We've got all of them. So timing is so justice, as well to some extent. So we're in this strange, distorted feeling of time bending and the timing feeling so hard to grapple with. I get that we could continue to feel this distortion of time where nothing feels the way it used to, and weeks go by really fast, but then days seem to drag on. I don't know. It just feels like that because Pisces is the illusion. So the illusion that time is not on our side or that it's somehow like been broken. So we gotta just work with this, folks. Just work with that because if that was just this bottleneck over here, it would be like, well, let's just bust through it and do something different. But we've got all these other really deep cards around timing. So it's not just this bottleneck phenomena. There's something much bigger happening. We can't see the bigger lay of the land. And so the small frustrations with how long everything is taking is a distortion because we don't see the big picture and actually how many pieces are simultaneously coming into alignment. We can't see that yet. I always use the analogy of the kaleidoscopes, those things that you hold up to the light and you turn them. Have you ever noticed you turn them and turn them and turn them and turn them and nothing happens? It's just kind of like a couple of little pieces shift. And then all of a sudden you get to a point and the whole picture changes. It just goes clunk and it all changes. That's what I feel we're in this timing, this kaleidoscope experience of that bending of time where we finally have that last straw. 900 synchronicities, my friend used to tell me, that last one, everything changes. So maybe we're only at 700 and we need a couple hundred more synchronicities before the whole thing shifts. Final card in the middle, we have another king. Look at this lineup down the middle. King of Cups, King of Swords, and the Hermit. Maturity, maturity, maturity. Yeah, I feel as though this King of Swords is balancing out a lot of what's going on here. And it is the high intellect. We've got the justice in the house of Gemini, the intellect, the mind. We've got the high intellect in the center, really balancing between this, grandfather time up here in Capricorn and our deep, deep, intense emotional depth down in the house of Cancer. So, and yet, look at the overview. It doesn't look really scary, does it? It looks kind of, I want to say a little bit like discipline and kind of a bit like hard work. Not hard work, but staying in gear. It doesn't look like a lot of freedom and socializing and fun and play. In fact, yeah, I mean, the Cups cards are the Five of Cups, which is disappointment and sorrow in the house of friends and social and friends and social. So if you're getting the reflection that people don't want to spend time with you or are like overwhelmed, this again, do not take that personally because we're seeing outside of us what a lot of what's going on inside of us as well. And we'll see what happens next week. That might have cleared by then. And we might have a go-ahead green lights for socializing over the holidays, but we're definitely getting this preemptive pullback from that this week. Thank you. Osmosis comes to mind. Thank you, John. Thank you, Lupo. Beautiful readings. Day the course, Hermiller, great. Mhm. Tracy and Poe. I'm not a crier. Cowgirls don't cry and all that, but these days it's not weakness, it's release, or at least it seems that way. Yep. Yep. Definitely not weakness. This is strength. It's the opposite of weakness. It's power. Because emotion, tears are often like it's built up emotion. And, if you can utilize that experience of crying and the grief, often we look for something negative to pin the grief on. So if you can avoid that and go, this is cleansing, and a lot of deep emotion comes from deep love or deep meaning. Sometimes it's deep love or deep meaning that has been hijacked or blocked. But we can do a lot of healing by letting it move through us. Yeah. Oh, Heather. Thank you. Thank you so much. We can do it. All right. Programming told us tears are weakness. Yeah. Aw. Aw, thank you, everybody. It's been really, really lovely to share with you as always. So I'm going to take the cards to smaller screen here. And let's go through our cards on the way out. Of course, you can find me as always, 1 hour sessions. And let's see what else we got up here. Oh, yes, we've got this Ascension Organites, the Magic of Christmas entire store, 30% off. Woohoo! And I just look at those Organite pyramids and towers, and I think those would make incredible gifts. So you've got some time left to order them and maybe even have them mailed to someone that you feel would just really love a gift like this and really resonate with it and receive benefit from it. And then there's the gift of this fella, Alchemy with Jay Widener. That was a really fascinating talk at the conference. And if you didn't have a chance to check it out and you want to just check that out, it's available. Go to the link. You can access it. Super affordable, well worth it to receive these insights. It feels like everything at that conference was just next level. It almost felt like everybody, all the presenters were in fine form. They were at their best. Like I've watched all of them before, and I was just like, they brought out their very best energy for that conference. So it's a very special thing if you haven't had the opportunity to hear that talk. All right. Well, wrapping up, let's look at the schedule for tomorrow and the next day. Tomorrow is spacious. Take the time. Then on Monday, we're back with Beyond the News with Jean-Claude and Janine. And Tuesday, channeling by Janine from 1 till 2 and Beyond Karma. So I look forward to seeing you all here. I will see you on next Thursday with Crystal down the rabbit hole. And then again next Friday with Penny Kelly for our last Intuition Friday before going on holidays. Have just such a beautiful week, everybody. Blessings to all of you. I'm holding you tight as you allow those tears to just flow through you. Use that invisible pruning shears to cut away the overgrowth in your heart to make room for the new. Blessings. See you next week.